Now, failure to pay traffic fines, business rates and council tax are the most common reasons why local authorities refer someone to a bailiff. As the cost of living crisis worsens, a BBC File on 4 investigation has found that debt referrals to bailiffs by councils in England and Wales have increased by 20% last year compared with 2022. Mark Lobel has been speaking to whistleblowers in the industry and some of those affected.
8, 9, all on one day those. Contact this office immediately.
This is Paul Crichton, a former army medic. After his mother, father and wife died in a 5-year period, his finances changed and he couldn't afford his council tax. He was so overwhelmed by letters to pay up from Stockport Council and calls from the bailiffs, he fled his home every day.
They were so antagonistic that I would get up out of the house and basically stay out during normal working hours. My strategy was to stay out of their way.
But court and bailiff fees kept adding to his debt, and a year ago he considered taking his own life.
I was really thinking, was it actually worth carrying on?
Stockport Council told us they only take enforcement action as a very last resort. But councils in England and Wales have £500 million of uncollected public sector debt needed to maintain essential services. And File on 4 can reveal there's been an average 20% rise in council referrals to bailiffs. That's from last April to October compared to the year before. But here in Chorley, referrals are actually down 80%.
Rather than simply go to enforcement, we look at how do we support them. And if we think they're vulnerable, we refer them into our social prescribing team, which actually works with GPs and other agencies to assist people.
But all of those services that you've just described, that you provide, it costs money.
So if you deal with it early on and get to the root cause early on, we can actually save the taxpayer money in the long term.
Money is important because when a council refers a debt to a bailiff, it costs them absolutely nothing. So who pays for the enforcement agency? Well, all their fees are covered by the debtor. So a working bailiff only earns if they recover the debt.
We carry a tablet because it has all the work on it, but they would encourage us to lift the tablet so that the debtor could see this sign saying, "You can ask me to turn this camera off."
And with the camera off, but keen to get paid, a bailiff could aggravate the debtor.
To physically assault the enforcement agent so that they could have them arrested to be out of the house so they could carry on removing goods.
That bailiff's former employer told us they terminate any rule breakers. But with reports of misbehaviour common in the industry, a new regulator has been set up to improve standards.
I do have concerns about enforcement agents who are not paid if they don't collect. If I could wave a magic wand, I would take away all of those cases where people just don't behave with humanity.
Luckily, Paul met a disability caseworker who pointed out his bailiff company had signed the Armed Forces Covenant to treat veterans fairly.
They should abide by what they'd signed, and they were not. I got breathing space while things were put on hold. It's definitely better days ahead.
Mark Lobel, BBC News.
And just a quick pointer on that story, the File on 4 investigation, Bailiffs Behaving Badly, is available now on BBC Sound.